Food-wise, I would say that Austria or Vienna also is a bit more, or they have a bit more to offer than Norway. So you have Schnitzel, you have Kaiserschmarrn, and those are just two of the, I think, like the best dishes
Yeah.
that you can get there. And I mean, otherwise the supermarkets are well equipped, but that's the same for Norway as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I used to cook a lot in Norway for me and also for other persons, and I did the same in Austria because it's just also cheaper, I would say.
Yeah.
But you don't spend that much money on a restaurant as you would do in Norway. So
It's hard to spend more than in Norway. So
I think so too.
It's very
Yeah.
expensive there to eat out. Today, I'm so happy to welcome our next guest, Konstantin. Hi, Konstantin.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the second part of our conversation. For your internship, you were in Austria, if I'm
Yes,
right?
exactly. In Vienna.
That's a topic I really want to listen about. Yeah. So, how did you decide where to do your internship?
Well, from international business, from the study course, we have those regulations that you, over the course of our studies, we have to do 2 internships, and we have to do them in 2 different countries. And I wanted to have the opportunity to do my bachelor internship in Germany. So I was like, I'm going to look into other countries. I didn't really look into a lot of other countries than Austria. So I was like relatively focused on Austria already because I was like, okay, they still speak German, and that's since it's my first like real big internship, something that is like a bit more familiar to me is maybe a better thing to start with. And well, Austria doesn't have a lot of like big cities, so I think there's like Vienna, Innsbruck, and then I think Graz and Salzburg. Maybe I forget something now, but I think those are the biggest
majors.
ones.
Like,
and so there's not a lot of like options to choose from, which I also found out while I was searching for internships. But I found the one in Vienna and was quite happy with that.
I see that you had some particular criteria. Can you summarize them again? The big city, something close to you?
Yeah, well, next to the big city, of course, or which goes naturally with the big city, to have a place where you can easily search for accommodation and where something is kind of going on. So to be somewhere in nowhere wasn't really a wish for me. I wanted to be where I can also do some stuff. And Vienna was the perfect place for that in that case for me.
And how did you choose a company and a job position or role? Do you choose this by yourself?
Yes, I can't remember any regulations right now from university. I mean, they say, okay, you have to do it at least, I think, 3.5 months and something like that. Maybe I forget something right now, but can't remember that anymore. But I mean, over my studies, I was quite sure that I didn't want to go into finances. Supply chain, yeah. Also kind of like very the same stuff on and on and on. And for marketing, I wasn't sure if I was the most creative or like also the person that was that good with like, I don't know, internet advertisement or Instagram or stuff like that. So I was okay, I want to go like very broadly said now into the HR department, and I found an offering at REWE, which isn't really located in Vienna, but at least close to Vienna. So I was able to live in Vienna in the HR projects department. Which
in what department?
HR projects.
Yeah.
Very small department. So we were kind of only 2 people. So my boss and I.
Good.
And then, of course, there was like a boss higher.
Yeah.
But we were kind of 2 people. On the one hand, we were kind of having the overview over all the projects that were going on in the HR department of REWE International AG. That's how the company was actually called, because the thing is, in Austria, you don't have any REWE supermarkets as you have them, for example, in Germany.
Can you tell me what the company does? So
Retail.
mm-hmm.
So they have supermarkets and drugstores. I think they have even some brands for construction markets. But I'm not sure. Yeah, and and actually also for vacation, some companies that belong kind of to REWE. And in Austria, there were some other supermarket brands that belonged to REWE, and we were kind of like the overarching head of that. So since it was kind of a company on its own, but still belonged to REWE, we weren't responsible for the companies that had actual supermarkets in the country, but still there was some part that was kind of the REWE overall, and I was in that part. It's a bit difficult to explain, but maybe you get the idea.
Yeah. And what did you do there more specifically?
So we were, as I already said, we were kind of overlooking all the projects that were going on in the HR department, and we were also helping either projects that came to us and said, okay, we need some assistance, we don't know how to approach that. We also implemented or did like the planning for a new project that should be going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And from my side, what I personally also did on my own was to organize and plan a monthly newsletter and info meeting where I collected information that I put into a Word document, made it look nicely, and then send it out to all the HR departments. So I was connected with a bit of pressure because it has to be everything perfect.
Yeah.
Because everybody is gonna have that in his Outlook. And same with the info meeting. So I got all the information from the different HR departments and collected that, put it on a PowerPoint, and then was also for the presentation kind of responsible. And since I was there from, I think, mid of August until the end of December, I was also responsible for the organization of the HR Christmas party,
nice.
Which was also quite an experience.
Yeah, I could only imagine organizing a Christmas party for
200
company.
people, something like that.
Was it nice at the end?
It turned out pretty good, and the feedback that I got was that people were very happy with what we did and everything. We had some issues with the location in the end. But
there are always issues.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it turned out nice. So
yes,
that's the important
so everything
part.
went well.
And how did you prepare for all that?
You mean for the internship as well, overall, or?
Yeah, overall.
When I look at, for example, the application phase and everything, I started quite late. So I can recommend to start relatively early.
Start on time. Make your life easier.
Yeah, you can get into a lot of stress if you do it quite late. So I think I got my job like 1 month before I wanted to start, or maybe a bit earlier. And I actually got my accommodation for living in Vienna, I think 2 weeks before I was supposed to start, which I was quite lucky.
Nice.
But it also turned out quite fine. And well, except for that, I mean, you have all this mandatory organizational stuff with the company to sign the contract and everything. But apart from that,
did you have an interview? How was the applying process?
Oh yeah. I first applied via the company website. I sent a CV application letter or motivational letter, and then they texted me back, and I had, I think, one interview, and then they just called me, I think, like 1 week or so later, and said, yeah, we would like to give you the job. You seem competent enough. And I think that's it.
And was that internship paid or not? Because I know that sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's not. It depends on what your luck is.
It was paid. as far as I know, in Germany, in Austria, and in Switzerland, it is very well paid most of the time. I think especially in Austria and Switzerland. Sometimes in Germany you can get some companies that pay a little less, but I think that's still quite a lot of money compared to other countries. So for example, Netherlands, where you only get 500 euros for a bachelor thesis internship. And in Austria and Germany and Switzerland, it's quite well paid. I think in Austria and Switzerland, they also are legally obliged to pay you a certain amount. So that was very nice because, I also applied for Erasmus since it was a different country, and I had like both. So the Erasmus and the payment from my company.
How did you do that?
Well, you get this financing from the European Union, where they pay you depending on what country you go to, as long as it isn't the country where you're from. So if I would have done my internship in Germany, I would not have been able to apply for Erasmus. But since I was in Austria, it was a different country, and I think you apply there via Fontes or something like that. Normally Fontes gives you all the information also to do that, and then I think via Erasmus you get like around 400 to 500 euros per month, depending on which country you go to.
So they just give you like a monthly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you fulfill like all the requirements and sign every document and stuff like that, you have to do kind of like a small survey and for the minor abroad also, I think like kind of an experience report. But if you do everything of that, and that's not a lot of work in my opinion, then you get this money and quite easily. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice opportunity that we have with the Erasmus program.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Your first months there. Actually, when did you arrive in Vienna?
The mid of August. I think on a weekend, but then there were like 2 or 3 free days where I could just roam a bit in the city and explore it. And I think I started on like a Wednesday or Thursday. But
nice. So you were there somewhere, nice weather. What were your first thoughts?
When I arrived there, it was very hot. I think like almost 35 degrees. So
a bit too hot.
A bit too hot, yes.
Okay.
But at first, Vienna kind of took my breath a little because I wasn't used to that, because the buildings and everything are very high. You have you still have, especially in the city center, you have these old buildings and they are like very high with like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 floors up. And you just have like streets and streets going on with that.
It's
and
a
that's
big city
that's crazy because in Germany you don't have that much. So I had to adapt to that a little bit at first, but you get used quite fast with that. But Vienna, with the first impressions that I got, Vienna was already a beautiful city.
How was it getting integrated in the company?
It was relatively easy, but the thing is also, since I was in such a small department, I didn't got around with a lot of people, or like didn't meet that many people. We were like all in an open office kind of with like the tables and everything, but I was mainly working with my boss together, and the others were like all in different departments. And I think if you're there for, I think I was there for 4.5 months. I think if you stay longer, you get integrated even more, because it takes, at least in this department, I think it takes a bit of time until you integrate quite well. But still, my boss was super nice, and of course I met the people, but I didn't have to do a lot with them. They were also very nice, and so it was very welcoming after all.
So you had a small team. You had nice interactions with your managers, your boss.
Yeah.
You have a research topic?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more how you get it? Do you choose it by yourself? Just everything around that.
Yeah.
What is the research topic?
Yeah. Well, so Fontes expects you during the first and also the second internship to kind of write a report about a problem that is kind of going on in the company, and that you theoretically, or maybe even afterwards, if the report is very good, that you could also kind of pitch to the company maybe, and they might apply it, your recommendations or whatever. And so I think at first it was quite hard for me to like find a research topic to write about. I was then quite lucky because my department was kind of in a restructuring phase, and I was just gonna write about what could the what could the HR department do so that in the future they meet kind of the expectations and the stuff that they are supposed to do. So that was kind of my report about the restructuring and what you should restructure, what you do differently, what you should implement. So we did, for example, interviews also with the different managers from the different HR departments, which I could then implement into my report, which was quite nice. And yeah.
So you chose it yourself? You didn't get assigned to it, or
no? So what Fontes also does is that the coaches can try to help you. I think it's for them relatively difficult to do that because they are not that far in, or like they are not that deep into the company as you are at this time.
Of course you're
for
there.
you, it might be a bit easier to find a topic. I got some help from my boss or from my manager. Talked with her about it, and she said that maybe that might be something, and I'll just try to work from that point on and develop that topic kind of.
So it's like a tip to ask the company.
Yeah,
what you
definitely.
can-
Yeah.
That's nice.
I think that's good, especially for the first internship, because it's kind of, I think for most of the people, that's kind of a first experience. So you come there, you're a bit lost and confused, and you're like, okay, how am I going to approach that? And so just ask the people and get some help. That's a good thing.
How did the company treated you during your research? Did they give you time? Did they give you space? Did they give you access to information about the company?
Well, so as I already mentioned, for example, the interviews that we did for the restructuring, I could also use them for my report. I just had to kind of black out the names from the people that we were interviewing. So as long as everything was anonymous, the company was fine that I was using that. And apart from that, I think it differs from company to company, because I heard from a few people that they weren't really able to work during their working hours on the report. Sometimes I didn't have that much to do, and then it was quite nice for me to just work on the report. And other times I had a bunch of stuff to do for the company, and then I, of course, did that stuff. What was also nice that I was able to work from home, so home office.
That's nice.
That was quite nice also during the times where I didn't have that much stuff to do, because then it was easier for me to work on the report and everything. So I think the environment that I had at REWE was quite nice for that.
No, that's really good to hear. And did you had struggles with balancing your social life and your now work life?
Well, it was a bit difficult because, of course, you're working kind of 9 to 5. And for me, there was also the case of that the company wasn't really in Vienna, but a bit further outside. And I had to drive each day around 1 hour with the bus there, which took of course, 2 hours from my day, which I could have used for the report or other stuff for the social life. Since I also got the chance to work from home, that made it a bit better, because then I was earlier done with work and could focus on the report or social activities.
Did you have any time to explore the city?
So during the weekends, there was quite a lot of time, I would say, to explore the city. To the end of the semester, it got a bit more stressful with the job, so the HR Christmas party and also writing the report. But beforehand, Vienna is quite a big city, so you have 2 million inhabitants, I think, and just a very big city, so I got around quite a few places, and especially the city center is quite beautiful because you have like those different buildings and everything like right next to it. You have those big town hall that is, in my opinion, even more impressive than the parliament.
Oh.
Which is crazy to me. But you have the parliament here, and then you have here the town hall, and on the other side there is like kind of the Ministry of Finances and the Ministry of the high statesman. I don't know the name anymore.
Yeah.
Of the England. Yeah, the president.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
president.
And so it was very nice. And the thing is also that even though Vienna is quite a big city, you also have some nice places to just hang out, to chill. So there was, for example, a garden or kind of a park where, especially during summer, I was quite often because it was just really nice to chill there. A lot of young people were there, and everybody just enjoyed the sun, read a book or stuff like that. And a bit further outside, so Vienna, or through Vienna, there is a river going, I think the Donau. I don't know how you say that in English, but probably you heard of it.
Yeah.
You know it. And there are also some quite nice spots right next to the river where you can just lay down. You can even... The Donau is apparently like split into like different sections or like regions. You have the flowing Donau in that way, and then there's like one part that is kind of a bassin where they also hold the water back, which is like not flowing, and you can just swim there, and that's really nice to like just hang out there. You go there, think like with the train for like 10 minutes or so, and it's still in the city kind of. So like just a spot to hang out with friends and everything. And additionally to that, I also once went with the train like 1 hour out of Vienna, and then you're in the mountains and you can just go on a hike. And that's
Do you have
perfect.
any pictures of that?
Yes, I think I do.
So you have some pictures from your internship?
Yes.
Can you show us?
Of course.
Okay, let's see them.
So this one was actually on the hike that I was just talking about.
Nice.
I think that was already in September, maybe October already. But there was like one day where it had like 25 degrees, and I was like, okay, I gotta have to go out and go somewhere hiking. So I went on the train, drove there for 1 hour, and it was just beautiful with like already the kind of the leaves changing the color and everything. And
autumn is approaching.
Yeah. It was really a vibe. Really liked it. But the funny thing is that it was kind of reminding me also of like, I don't know, kind of Spain. Not this picture, but like just the atmosphere was quite warm. You had those pine trees or something like that, and it was like that you were, I don't know, hiking somewhere through Spain. And I was actually in Austria.
Yeah, I've never
hiked
through Spain, but yeah.
Yeah. There was the park that I was talking about, where I used to spend quite a lot of time in the afternoon or also during the weekend. I think this is also one of the. So this is like right in the center of Vienna, and I think kind of a big museum about the history and like different cultures. But yeah, just the park and everything was quite a nice vibe always, and chill. I love to spend time there.
European parks, they're awesome. They are always good.
This is now actually during winter time already, more precisely during Christmas time, and Vienna is also very, very nice during Christmas time because you have, I don't know, 20 or maybe even more Christmas markets like that are everywhere around the city. So you could actually, in other cities, you kind of do a pub crawl. What you could there do is a Christmas market crawl, probably. And this is, I think, also the town hall. Just very impressive building, and yeah, really loved the atmosphere of Vienna during winter. We actually also were lucky that I think over 1 week and it was snowing, and you had like maybe half a meter of snow, and then like going through the Christmas markets was
The full experience.
yeah, the
I
full
think
Christmas
it's
experience.
very busy actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the town hall then in summer. So another perspective, but also
Beautiful building.
just the buildings and everything,
Yeah.
the design or the structure of them, very impressive.
Oh.
There was a bit further outside, outside of Vienna. Not really, but I think you had to go there for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that with the train. I don't think that it's that's like kind of very big park that is connected to not a castle but something similar. I don't know the English word for that. And there is like kind of also a botanical garden or a greenhouse, which I would say doesn't really fit to that building because I think that's, I don't know, from the 19th century or so.
Yeah.
And I think just a very impressive building with like all the glass and the iron bars and everything. You have to pay, I don't know, I think 5 to 10 euros to get there, but it's very, very beautiful also inside with all the different plants and everything, if you are into that.
Perfect. As a person, as an individual, how do you feel in the city?
Well, I mean, I kind of felt like somebody who actually lived there, or like that you kind of belong to the city, because Vienna is a very diverse city from the people and also from the different party opportunities that you have. So music-wise as well.
Okay.
So a place that I could also maybe imagine to live there maybe for a few years because it's very beautiful. And I just feel very comfortable living there, going through the streets and everything. It was very nice.
Is it an expensive city though?
Well, regarding accommodation, it wasn't that expensive. Maybe I also got lucky. I don't know. I think I paid around like 400, 500 euros. So that's fine for Vienna. And I was also quite lucky to get an accommodation quite fast. So maybe some people might have a difficulty with it, but it also depends maybe on what you're looking for, because I was looking for a shared flat and I found one that was perfect for me, which was also quite like in the city center. So perfect place or location. And I think regarding other living expenses and costs, like groceries and stuff like that, I think it's similar to Germany.
So
it's fine.
It's fine. And how is, you said that they have really nice social events, that there's culture around the city, the buildings, their typical architecture. But what about the food? Because you said that in Norway, the food is not something so special. Don't get your expectations high. But what about Vienna?
Food-wise, I would say that Austria or Vienna also is a bit more, or they have a bit more to offer than Norway. So you have schnitzel, you have Kaiserschmarrn, and those are just two of the, I think, like the best dishes that you can get there. And I mean, otherwise, the supermarkets are well equipped, but that's the same for Norway as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I used to cook a lot in Norway for me and also for other persons, and I did the same in Austria because it's just, also cheaper, I would say. But you don't spend that much money on a restaurant as you would do in Norway, so
it's hard to spend more than in Norway. So
I think so too.
It's very expensive there to eat out. And back specifically on the internship, how did it conclude?
Well, so I mean, I finished kind of my tasks work-wise regarding. I think the Christmas party was like 2 weeks before I left. So kind of also a pretty good wrap-up in a way. I also got, I think, a small present from my boss, which was
so
very,
nice.
very sweet. Overall the feedback of my work and what I did during those 4.5 months was quite good. So the only hard part as well was also to kind of leave
Again,
my roommates again, and because they also got very close to me, so that was a bit hard. But yeah.
And what did you learn during the internship? Something about maybe yourself or about the job as well?
I think kind of like coping with stress or like a high workload, because you have to do this 9 to 5 job and then also writing the report, which is very annoying, because especially for places like Vienna, you want to explore and you want to do stuff, you want to go out and whatever, and you're a bit limited by that. Maybe it also depends on the person, like somebody who's like very, very disciplined, which I wouldn't count myself in, is a bit better in that.
Yeah.
But at some times it was a bit difficult because I just had a lot of work to do, and then it was a bit stressful. But I think that's also a good experience, because to handle so much work and that stress as well, and also the stuff that I did at work. So like kind of the working independently. If people didn't send me the stuff, for example, for the info meeting or the newsletter, I wrote them again. I also did some scheduling for some workshops, and some people didn't reply, or like finding a spot or like a time frame where everybody had time was sometimes very, very difficult.
A lot of responsibilities.
And getting over that frustration or that stress and just continuing. I think that's something that that you make during such an internship, or might make during such an internship. And I think after that, you have that experience, and for the next time, you're a bit more prepared for that.
Okay, then with all of this stress, how are you feeling at the end?
Well, at the end, it got a bit better, because like the stress was, I think, like around November, beginning of December, and then it slowly decreased, at least work-wise, report-wise.
Opposite?
Yeah, I would say so. I think like the deadline for submitting the report was at the beginning of January, and I think I was still in Norway, kind of finishing it up. And it got a bit stressful, because like over Christmas I was like, okay, I'm not going to do a lot of stuff because I want to spend my time with family and everything. But overall it wasn't that bad that I was okay, this completely freaked me out, or like was so bad that I don't want to do it again.
So you would recommend the company and the place as well?
I can recommend Vienna, definitely. Very beautiful city. And the company itself, I would say so too. Yeah. From the experience that I made and from the people that I've met, it's a nice company.
You had a nice experience there in the company, in the city. It was all good.
Yeah.
Actually, those were my last questions for you. Once again, I'm very thankful for having you. You were such a nice guest to have. I really, really enjoyed both topics. Norway, it was very beautiful and interesting to hear. I don't know if I would be fine with the cold weather there, but Vienna, it was also really helpful, because this is a destination I look forward, hopefully going there for my internship.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, fingers crossed.
Yeah. It's fine. Thank you once again, Konstantin.
Thank you very much.
Having you.
It was really nice to have that opportunity and to talk with you about it. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.